Bhagwan Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar Jai. Sarvam Yogi Ramsuratkumar Arpanamastu. Let's offer our grateful pranams at the lotus feet of this embodiment of love, grace and power. What compassion, what grace can we even think of chanting this name, this powerful name, together for 1 hour and every day and day after day for several months? Is it small grace? Despite all the obstacles, He has permitted this to go on out of His compassion, boundless compassion. Now we shall see today one of the glories. A story of His glory, His Nama's glory, from the ocean of grace, this Karuna Samudram. Now, there's a place called Srivilliputhur near Madurai. It's about 1.5 hours drive from there. And from Srivilliputhur, there's a place called Madurai. And from there, it's this Chaturagiri. Chaturagiri, Chatur means 4, Giri means mountain. There are 4 mountains a certain distance away. It's just about 10 kilometers from Madurai. There are 4 mountains. They are called Shiva mountain, the mountain of Vishnu, the mountain of Brahma, and the mountain of Siddhas. And there is a mountain right in the middle, it's called Sanjivi mountain. And the place is full of some 60,000 acres or something. It's a vast place, full of caves, falls, herbs, endless varieties of herbs, and wild animals. There are famous 18 Siddhas. A Siddha means a perfected soul, an accomplished soul, perfected in yoga, perfected in meditation. These saints, they often gather in these mountains to have satsang with each other. And they also visit these caves, very secluded, so they could stay put and plunge into their deep meditation. Because these accomplished people, tapasvins, these perfected souls, help this world by their very presence, by their meditation, by their Shakti. So it's necessary they keep aloof from people, from ordinary people, undisturbed. So in the mountain, there's a linga, it's called Sundaramahalingam. And a little away from that is Chandanamahalingam. Now 4 kilometers upwards in the mountain is a place called Tavasipare. It means the rock of the ascetics. There's a huge boulder, a rock, within which is a cave. There are caves, not just one cave. And this Tapasipare, the rock of the ascetics, the great rishis, the Siddhas, from 1960 to 1970, for almost 10 years, people never went there because when it was attempted by 4 or 5 people at one time, after they went inside and came back, as soon as they came back, one died right outside the cave. Another one died while descending. The third one, when he reached home, he had a paralytic attack. He also passed away. And the fourth one became wise. And he kept quiet, he wouldn't talk at all, and after a few years he also passed away. So when people came to know about this, they were very frightened, and the government also closed the opening of the cave with a boulder so that people would not be encouraged to go there. And people had attempted in the early 70s also. Now we shall come to the story of a devotee from Shivakasi by name Veluchami, who was only 24 years in 1990. He was the station master's son, and he had spiritual inclination right from young age. In fact, he was drawn to these 18 Siddhas. He also wanted to do penance like those Siddhas and acquire the power. So for nearly 8 months, he was wearing only a saffron cloth for a dhoti and a small saffron cloth for a towel. He would not wear shirts. He had been wanting to go to this Tapasipare, wanted to know more about the Siddhas. He wanted to explore this mountain, Chaturagiri, the 4 mountains. So once, with the 7 other sadhus, with 6 other sadhus, they made a group of 7. They climbed up this Chaturagiri mountain. They they reached the Sundaramahalingam temple, a very powerful linga. They say that Agastya Muni installed it there. Very powerful. So they went there, they saw this anointment of the linga, the abhishekam, the puja, everything. It's very special on Chitra Paurnami day, the full moon day, in the month of Chitra. There would be special abhishekams and pujas. It's considered as a great blessing to attend. So this group of 7 went up there, attended the puja, and then started to climb further. It's 4 kilometers from this place, up there, up the mountain. They came across this Tavasipar. There are many secrets, secret haunts of these ascetics of ancient times, much visited by them for their own reasons. There's a place called Yamapurakau, means a place of the Lord of Death. And it's surrounded by tall trees, a forest of tall trees and wild plants. The place is full of herbs, very rare varieties. We wouldn't even come to know about it except through the Siddhas. The Siddhas, they not only did meditation, they were doing several other things. One of them was exploring the herbs and creating medicines in order to help the world. So there was this forest of herbs, and I believe there's a particular herb. When you step on it, you merely step on that, then something happens. Your brain stops working. You are unable to think anything further. There were people who were caught by that, and after that they were going round and round and round inside the forest, unable to think of ways to come out. And they would be chanting Shiva, 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 going round and round, locked up in the forest. So people wouldn't go that side. So when these people, there were 7 of them, were further joined by 3 more people, so it became a group of 10. When they reached this Tavasipare, that is the caves of the Siddhas, the 18 Siddhas, Veluchami wanted to go inside, explore, find out exactly what was in it. There were 2 caves. He tried to enter the first one, and there was only 2 feet, and after that he could not go inside. Immediately he came out, and then he tried the other cave. And nearly 10 feet, up to 10 feet, he had to crawl. He had to lie down and move inch by inch. He took only one torchlight, he held it in the right hand, and he was crawling. After 10 feet, there was a little wider space, and now he was able to sit up. And then sitting, he was trying to move. He moved on another 5 feet, 15 feet. He says, at that time, suddenly something happened to him. His brain became dull. He was unable to think any further. And it was very, very dark inside. And what was more, he rather sensed some wonders, some wondrous sights there. Though he did not know what they were all about, he felt, he sensed those wonders around. And then he came out of his stupor. He wanted to find out what they were all. It was very, very cool inside, very dark. And at that time, he found a little ray of light falling between two rocks inside. And he also found two ways branching out. One seemed to go down the south. It might be getting down the mountain. The other one was towards the northeast. That meant going up further. And there was a rock there, a small boulder. It was about 1.5 feet. So he started to climb up. As he was ascending that, he felt the hand of somebody on his shoulder. He almost froze in his place. And then he wanted to find out, when somebody touched him on the shoulder, the fear froze him and the fear deepened that some harm might come to his eyes, to the face. So he lifted both his hands to close his face. Unfortunately, he had a torch in his hand, and the hand that touched his shoulder gave a blow to the hand. The torchlight fell down. It was thrown away. He was unable to find out if that figure, the huge figure, he sensed a huge figure behind him. It was making a strange noise, a gurr, gurr, gurr. And when it did something, he was not sure whether he was bitten by it or he got a blow from that. But something happened to his right hand and the torch fell out. Now this figure jumped across, came to the front, and it began to press his head with its own head. Now this was a fight for life. Somehow he gathered some strength, and with his left hand he started to push it away. He was trying to push it away, and every time he tried that, he came across very soft, cushioning bristles. It was like a dense hair of an animal. And every time he did that, that huge figure with its strange noise, strange loud noise, was trying to press him down with its own head. And he was screaming, "Ayo, ayo, ayo." Every time, 3 times, he attempted to push it away, and the 3 times also, it began to press him down, and he was screaming some expletive, like "ayo." And the 4th time, he thought he was not going to survive anymore. He was going to be dead. And suddenly from the navel came the vibrant mantra, "Yogi Ramsuratkumar ki jai, Yogi Ramsuratkumar Maharaj ki jai." He says that he did not consciously attempt it. It seemed to come of its own accord, right from the navel. And as soon as he uttered this "Yogi Ramsuratkumar Maharaj ki jai," something happened this huge figure that was pressing him down, which was trying to kill him, suddenly screamed and moved away. Just imagine, put yourself in the dark cave, very dark, very cool, and suddenly this huge figure, unknown, very frightening, with its strange, loud noise, hitting him from behind and then pressing him down. Now every time he screamed some expletive like "Ayyo," it became more and more violent, the figure. But the minute this mantra came from the navel, from the depth of his being, Yogi Ramsuratkumar Maharaj ki jai. Now this figure, this huge frightening figure, screamed and began to move away, and it went out. Now he started to chant. Now he knew how the mantra worked, and he started continuously, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar. So chanting the name, he looked for the torch, and then he found out his right hand, something had happened to it. It was hanging loose. He had to pick it up with his left hand, and he found the right hand useless now, and there was blood, the smell of blood. It was all very, very dark. He could not see anything. He felt the smell of blood and the hand hanging loose. So with his left hand, he lifted his right hand, held the torch also, and he decided not to go any further. He was afraid. So he started to move out once again through the cave. Now, as he started moving back to the entrance of the cave, chanting Yogi Ramsuratkumar, once again he heard the sound, burr, burr, burr sound of the figure behind him, once again chasing him. But he knew how to protect himself, so he kept on chanting Yogi Ramsuratkumar loudly, and was moving out, and this figure ran out of the cave. So outside, people were shouting. He said as he went inside, up to the distance of 10 feet, he could still hear the sound the people made outside, the conversations they were making, he could still hear, but after 10 feet, everything changed. It became darker and cooler and more dangerous. Now, when this figure came out of the cave, people were all shouting, "The bear, the bear, the bear." So it must have been a bear, the animal, because that place was also well known for wild animals. So he came out with blood, lots of blood, dripping, and then with the help of the other people, he reached down once again to the place of Sundaramahalingam temple. There is a matam there, and there, of course, he loosely bound his hand with a piece of bamboo and some wet cloth so that the blood would stop. He was being carried by two people. They made something like a hammock of a sack cloth and carried him. And then finally, he got admitted in a hospital and went through the treatment. Now, Veluchami says, people called it the bear, the wild animal from those forests. But he says, how could such a huge figure get inside a small cave? How could it move about so freely? And this happened when he was trying to find out the secrets of the cave. He observed certain strange happenings there. He wanted to know what it was all about, and that's when he felt the touch of a wild hand. So Veluchami is very sure it was no wild animal from the forest like others thought. It was probably one of those Siddha Purushas, the 18 Siddhas, who had taken some form to frighten him away, to stop him from proceeding further. Now, how did this mantra came up when he was only screaming the usual expletives? How did this mantra all of a sudden came from the very navel? Because Veluchami used to go to Srimati Uma Surendran's satsang, Yogi Ramsuratkumar Bhajan Mandali in Shivakasi, and they used to chant Yogi Ramsuratkumar Nama there, and he had been doing it for months. It is Srimati Uma Surendran who taught him this mantra, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, and that came in handy when he was in extreme danger of losing life. So you see, chanting the name, getting used to chanting the name, how it helps of its own accord without even conscious thinking of it. He understood the power of the name, because be it a bear from the forest or a Siddha, it worked, the mantra worked. The figure went away. It ran away. So how much power the mantra must have? He understood it through his own experience, an unforgettable experience. What a strange story. Now, we shall come to the other part. It's very good. He was very brave. He was very young, 24 years. He attempted. He wanted to know about the caves. He risked his very life. In fact, the bear that came out, there was one man from Chennai who had accompanied this group of 10. The bear gave him a blow also. After going to Chennai, he had to get treated for that. So what risks are involved? Now without venturing out up the unknown spaces, there is a cave inside all of us, a very deep cave. It's called the spiritual heart by Raman Maharishi. This cave is a flame. It's a space, it's called Chit Akash. Chit means the knowledge of God, the supreme knowledge. It is the cave of supreme awareness. It is the cave of supreme bliss, supreme peace, supreme power, the power that creates the whole cosmos with all its galaxies and planets, the power that sustains the cosmos, the power that would withdraw it when it chooses. We call it Parabrahman. The supreme awareness, the pure awareness. And that's also called a cave. A cave of supreme awareness. A cave of a flame. It's not fire, it's a flame of light. It is the inner effulgence, the inner light of the heart center, the center of the transcendent being. Now why don't we venture out into this? Let us remember what Tulsidas said, you light the Mani Deep of Ram Nam, Nama of any God, Nama of your Gurudev. You light it, you put it on your tongue. It would brighten up the inside, which is otherwise dark. And it throws light outside as well as inside. It shows you this is the torchlight that Veluchami carried. Now this torchlight would never fail you. There, when Veluchami was crawling inside the cave like a snake, there was just enough space for somebody to lie down and move on. And he says in one place, the torchlight would not go in. It could not penetrate the darkness. Here, this torchlight, this deepam, this lamp of Nama that you light and keep on your tongue, would throw light unfailingly, an unfailing effulgence, unfailing brightness. So that would show you the inner path, and you can venture further into this, the heart cave, where the ultimate God, the God of pure awareness, the supreme being out of which the world has come, that which is sustaining this world, it took a form called Brahma and created this world. It took the form of Mahavishnu and is sustaining the world, the cosmos. And it would take the form of Shiva to destroy all that it created. Now the Supreme Being is right inside this cave, a huge column of effulgence. It is up to us to make our way, to make inroads into this cave and find this huge effulgence. Because it is that which has put breath in you, which has created your body in the first place with all its sophistication. Just think of every part of the body, how beautifully, how meticulously it's made and it's functioning. And it has put the breath in this body, and it is sustaining this breath, and it is this breathing that gives life to your body. Your brain works because you are able to breathe. Your eyes see because of your breath. The whole body moves about freely because of this breath. And this breath has been put there by the Supreme Being in that inner cave, the cave of the heart center. Your breath belongs to that. Your every breath starts from there, from the source, and merges in that. 21,000 times you breathe in and out every day. Your breath goes into that cave and then it merges there and emerges. It is that cave that we have to explore. You don't have to walk miles, climb miles. You don't have to do such hard work. You just have to sit in a quiet place, preferably a place of solitude, and chant this mantra. Chant the name of any god with concentration, with love, with determination, and light the pathway inside. And you would see how your very soul crosses the pathway into the cave and merges there, merges with the source. This is the adventure that all of us have to take. And it's being done under the watchful eye of our Gurudev, Yogi Ramsuratkumar. The mantra there helped Veluchami to survive the danger and come out. Now this mantra, this unfailing mantra, unfailing grace of the mantra would help us go in the inward journey and reach the source there, the cave of the heart. This is the purpose of life. Those Siddhas, 18 Siddhas, they have perfected themselves in this. And this is what we have to do also. Now this Bhagwan, whose mantra can light up the whole way into the inner cave of the Supreme Being, is right here. He is none other than the Supreme Being. It is that Supreme Being inside, which is blissful, ever peaceful, has come out in this form of Yogi Ramsuratkumar. Let us submit our prayers of today at his feet. Bhagwan, there is nothing that you do not know, there is nothing that you cannot do. We beg you again and again for your immediate divine intervention to remove the panic from the hearts of people, to stop the spread of the disease, to enter some vaccine that could kill this virus instantly. We have come to hear that there is a vaccine now ready. We have heard Modi ji say that. I saw it somewhere in the paper. So the vaccine is ready. Our repeated prayer must have helped. There's no doubt about it. So let's wait for this vaccine to come into effect. And Bhagwan, please free the entire world from the clutches of this virulent virus and bring back normalcy once again. Let this 2021 be a year of brightness, joy, peace and love and unity. Let it bring the good tidings of a dharmic life for everyone. Please give a lift to our falling economy. And all those brave soldiers, tapasvis, who are fighting the disease in order to save other lives, please give them protection. And above all, please bless us to remember your name constantly and to go about our life as a fitting instrument in your hands. Jai Yogi Ramsuratkumar.